what factors indicate a healthy repurchase obligation plan? I'll expand that to say, well, what would indicate a healthy sustainability or a healthy company that is able to sustain its ESOP? And that's kind of what we get into on this key study considerations. The first part of the question about a healthy repurchase obligation plan, I think it's really the ability to afford it, right, Nick? So if it's whether that involves setting cash aside inside the ESOP trust, on the company's balance sheet, and there's pros and cons to both. It's something that you have to discuss with your valuation provider. What is the impact of excess cash on the company's balance sheet, and how does that impact share value trajectory? All the things that you talked about with that circular equation.
Viability versus sustainability.
There you go. Yep, that's a good point. But I think on this key study considerations, if we get to the end of a process and we're able to show the company's board, management, trustee, that the company has a handle on all of these aspects of their plan, to me, these are good indications that we've got a good, healthy, sustainable ESOP. The first one, of course, is can the company afford the cash requirements in the long term? Can it control and manage its repurchase obligation? The second thing that a lot of ESOP companies want to know is the long-term benefit provided to participants, reasonable, competitive, sustainable. I know NCEO does survey information about what is a typical benefit range. Sometimes we'll show in our charts, Nick, that here's your benefit level, here's kind of the 25th percentile, 50th percentile, according to some of the NCEO statistics and so forth. But oftentimes, companies don't like to have that choppy benefit. You alluded to it earlier, that some companies are accepting of it because, it's the nature of their business. But I would say more times than not, the company wants something that they can communicate to their participants, make them happy to be part of an ESOP company, show that they're providing a benefit that's much greater than non-ESOP companies, but still able to sustain it. And then, the last one here are ESOP policies aligned with corporate strategies and long-term goals. In other words, is the ESOP strapping the company such that it's not able to achieve its corporate objectives, whether those would be acquisitions that it intends to make to grow the business, whether it's capital expenditures that they see. So I guess in the very early stages of the ESOP sustainability analysis, Nick, we're going to be asking the company for, what are your plans? What kinds of objectives do you have? What other cash needs do you have? Do you have stock appreciation rights programs that you have to fund? Non-qualified, you alluded to compensation earlier. But again, I think these are all outcomes or successful attributes of a sustainable ESOP company. The company should drive the ESOP, not the other way around. And so you'd never make a business decision based on a 401k requirement, for example. But yet we sometimes see ESOP companies that feel like they're trapped or that they're locked in to having to forego other decisions because of their failure to plan for the repurchase obligation. And so, it's basically a planning point there. And then, the other is to be cognizant of the fact that these policy decisions are flexible. It allows you to pivot when circumstances change. And that's really one of the crux of the ESOP sustainability study, is to point out options that you maybe didn't know existed previously and show what the impact is using the company's own information, what's likely to happen if you change these policy decisions.
And that's where a sustainability study can be, used for multiple years, because it helps you understand and have a good frame of reference. If we make a decision in a given year, what are the implications of that decision? How do differences in share allocation change what we're giving to participants, change the future value trajectory, change the benefit level? What again is that piece of the iceberg under the water? It helps give visibility to that. And so you have a better frame of reference to understand how, when you're going through one of those two-way doors, or if you're making a bigger decision to really change and walk through a one-way door, what are those implications?
Great. Okay, well, thank you, Nick. And the barcode that you're seeing here, or the QR code, I should say, this is something we rolled out at the NCEO conference last month, and it seems to be well received. A lot of times we find, Nick, I think you'd agree with this, that ESOP companies are always asking, well, what are we doing that's different, or how's our planning compare to what you see, in the other, among other ESOP companies that you work with or in the marketplace. And, certainly that's one of the benefits of going to ESOP conferences and so forth. So we developed a series of questions. I think there's 10 of them. Should take 10 to 15 minutes at most to complete. There's no right or wrong answer. So if you like, you can scan this QR code, use it right on your phone. Otherwise, you can get it through the link that's provided here. It's also on our website. If you forget about all those things, just call Nick or me. We'll get you to the right direction, to do this. But if you're willing to put in, the 10 or 15 minutes to answer some questions, there's no right or wrong answers. It's really to help you see where you are on the spectrum of your planning process.